This is Wednesday. Whoa, it's Thursday. Mr. Frankie didn't change the date. It's Thursday, October 10th. Year of our Lord 2019. Anybody's birthday? Nobody in my family. All right, we're in pre-algebra. Welcome, Julia, Johnny, and Sawyer. Addition and subtraction property of equality. You can add or subtract the same value from both sides of an equation and it's still going to be true. Right? Right? If I'll pretend to be, did you ever see one of those things where there's scales?
Yes.
So they got the scales on each side, right? You ever seen, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So if we got 50 pounds on each side of the scale, it's going to be perfectly balanced, right, Jordan? But if someone adds 20 pounds to my left side, you're right, my left side, what's going to happen? It's going to go down, right? But if someone then adds 20 pounds to the right side, what's going to happen? It's going to be equal again. That makes sense. You have to add the same to both sides or subtract the same from both sides in order for it to maintain its equality, right? And the other thing is, whatever they have done to the variable, where's Bella? What do? Whatever they did to the variable, you undo it. Yes. I thought you were the one who's the one that always says undo it. You undo it. So if they added to it, you subtract. Same thing from both sides. All right, here we go. Here's your answers. Number 6, 7, and 8. All they wanted you to say was you're going to subtract 4. You're going to subtract 4.5. You're going to add 35. Everybody got those? Okay. 9 through 12. Top line. R is 5. T is 7. P is 13. X is 2. So far, so good? You have to show your work. 13 through 16. Z is 2. S is 17. Y is 24. D is 40. And last row. N is negative 28. I did this on the board yesterday. Everybody understands that? All of a sudden we have a negative number. Don't lose your mind. Negatives are integers. They're numbers too. Just like fractions are numbers too. See, at least Cameron still laughs at my jokes. 18, M is 245. 19, A is 64. And 20, C is negative 37. How many feel really confident with what you did yesterday? Good. Turn the page. Guess what we're going to do today? The same thing, except multiplication and division. Addition and subtraction undo each other. Multiplication and division undo each other. Here are some things that you're not going to allow to blow your mind. The fraction bar is a division sign. So if it's x divided by something, Casey says, what's the opposite of division? Multiply. If it's x divided by 8, Casey says, I'm going to multiply by 8. Here's the proof why that works. Watch this, Noah. I'm not in the book right now. I'm not using the example in the book. Just look up here. X over, how can I read that? X by 8. If I want to get x by itself, I'm going to multiply by 8. How does that work? Well, if I take this and multiply it by 8, these cross cancel each other. I've got 1 times x, which is x, and 1 times 1, which is 1. X over 1 is just x. That's exactly what I want. I want x by itself. Does everybody understand? So if you've got a division problem that's stated as a fraction, the fraction bar is a division sign. You undo it by multiplying, and here it makes perfect sense. Right? You remember how to multiply fractions? We cross canceled. It ends up being just x. That's what you want. You've undone the division by multiplying. Kiara says, hey, make sure if you multiply one side by 8, you multiply the other side by 8. That's it. That's it. That's the whole process. You sure? Let's go. Why wait around? Why wait around? Let's dive in. Same thing for division. Let's start on page 115. Wow, we move fast. Page 115, number 1. To solve 6x equals 36, what are you going to do to each side of the equation? You're going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide.
Multiply.
Raise your hand to be recognized. 6x equals 36. Everybody wake up. Stay with me. I'm on top of page 115. What are you going to do to solve that equation? Dominic, you're going to divide by 6 because what have they done to the x? They've multiplied it by 6. Say amen if that's clear.
Amen.
6 next to an x means multiply. What's the opposite of multiply? How does that work? Watch this. If I have 6x and I divide it by 6, guess what happens? 6 over 6 is 1x. It's just x. That's what I want. So I get rid of the 6 by dividing by 6 because it turns into 1x. That's what I want. I want to know what x is. If I multiply this, or if I divide this side by 6, Kiara says, you got to divide the other side by 6. Number 2, 6x equals 72. See what they did? What are they going to divide both sides by? 6. So x is going to equal. You follow number 2 in the book here? Keep your eyes there. They see what they did? Underneath 6x equals 72, they wrote 6x over question mark. 6. And you do the same thing to both sides. So what's x equal in number 2? 12. Number 3, it's y over 9. See what they did? They multiplied by, oh my. Look, number 3, it's right there in the book, 115. Y over 9, so they have to multiply by something because they're 9. And by multiplying both sides by 9, they figure out y equals negative 27 because it's a negative 3 over there. Your job is 5 through 21. Go! Sure. What? Let me see if it's true. Oh, I did rip it. Come on.
You did?
It did rip. Wait, I got. Hold up. Actually, I'm sorry. Don't. You know what's? If I would have said 5 through 33 and then changed it to 5 to 21, you'd be happy. But since I said 5 to 21 and now I'm changing it to 5 to 33, you're like, oh no, that's like punishment. It really was supposed to be 5 to 33. 5 to 33. Thanks, Dominic.
No, we are getting punished.
It's like
Life is unfair.
it's like when, like if you never had an allowance, you wouldn't feel like you're getting cheated. But if you used to get $10 a week for allowance and now you only get $5, you're like, oh, what's going on? You could be lucky you're getting anything, right?
I don't get allowance.
I don't get anything.
See, some people don't get any allowance.
But you gotta think about it.
Nina doesn't get allowance. She just gets everything she wants.
Nuh-uh.
So when you
Not
I know, that's my good.
No. I made it to 31 on my submission.
You mean you numbered it 5 to 31 and it came out perfect?
No, I got.
The only problem with that is what? You numbered all your problems, but you didn't leave yourself to show your work.
That's what I do all the time.
All right, ladies and gentlemen,
We're here.
listen. For you to number your paper before you start 5 to 31, you're not leaving yourself room to show the work. If you don't show the work, it's not
I
right.
can do it.
What if I
I
make
can
you
do
like
it. I do it before. I've done it before. Can you do number 1 or 5?
I'm going to bunch of them.
Look, I don't. Look. I did it. I already
see.
did this one.
I see, Dina.
Four.
The eyes in the back of my head, just like mom.
Oh, okay. It's like me?
Mom.
There. Done it multiple times before.
Yes. Elise Winterston.
I know she's.
We have to
I know.
have a special.
That's got to be. I usually like
Number 5's on the board. Okay, listen.
You, sir.
Seriously, middle school, we've got to cut the chatter. What?
It's 9.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be 9?
Yeah.
Oh.
That wrong.
I was like,
Okay. So here's what happened. When I went to write it, I go, oh, the answer is 18. And then,
Yeah.
that's my excuse, Colin.
thank you for the answer.
So they took P and they divided it by 2, so I've got to multiply by 2. That undoes what they did. That leaves me with just P over here. 9 times 2 equals 18. Done. Number 5 is on the board.
Where did you get 9?
It says P over 2 equals 9.
Mr. Frank.
Oh, so I am doing it right.
I did it. I got it on one line. I do it all the time.
Here's number 8.
I did it.
What did they do to X, Isaac? It's got a 4 next to it. So what did they do to X? They multiplied it by 4. So I'm going to divide it by 4. As long as I do the same thing to both sides. X equals 8. That's all the work you have to show. You're dividing by 4. Because 4 over 4 is 1. 1x. God bless you. Here's number 12. Preston. Sydney doesn't get freaked out because they put the variable on the right side of the equation. It doesn't matter. If you say 3 plus 2 equals 5 or 5 equals 3 plus 2, what's that matter which side it's on? So Sydney says they took H and divided it by 14. So I'm going to undo it. I'm going to multiply by 14. So it's H over 14 times 14, 25 times 14. H divided by 14 times 14 gives me just H. 25 times 14, 350. There's your answer to 12. Here, I'll demonstrate again why it works, Kiara. Look, H over 14 times 14 over 1. In order to multiply fractions, you got to have 2 fractions. Cross cancel. H over H times 1 is 1H. 1 times 1. H. That's how I got H out of this. Because if you divide by 14 and then multiply by 14, boom.
I wasn't even confused.
Good. Because if you're not confused on that, you got this down pat.
I didn't start that one yet.
And that's all there is to that.
Yeah, I didn't start that one yet. I'm on 8
Get it?
and I still don't get how you got. I'm on 7
What?
even though I already did 8.
See what you did. What number is that?
But I just have to figure out. Oh,
I got that.
I have 14 like
Oh, yes, nice.
What'd they do to what? 17, right? They multiplied it by 17. Lauren says I'm going to divide it by 17 as long as I divide 51 by 17. And you get 3. Good. You should.
I need to 9. Oh, that's terrible. We're talking about those kid movies that I watched.
I'm going to have to stand over. I'm going to have to stand. That's just
What's the old pterodactyl? What's the old pterodactyl? Like, they hide their seeds. Yeah.
So one time I
I used to watch it. They're playing hide your seed, and they were like, "Hey, where am I?" And look, the guy was
Dora
right
the
here.
Explorer?
And the seed.
Oh, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Oh, the old version is good. The new one on Netflix stinks. I just started watching it yesterday. And I was like, what is this?
we did not.
Okay, here comes number 9. Again, the variable's on the right. That doesn't bother Ethan. He says, if they took G and multiplied it by 6, all I got to do is divide by 6. 6G divided by 6 is going to leave me with just G. 18. If I divided this side by 6, I got to divide that side by 6. G equals 3.
Yeah. How did you get?
What was that for?
Oh wait, oh.
18 is the original problem. 18 equals 6G. David. 16. Okay, hold up. 16. Did you do 15?
Yeah.
So 15's okay with you? So 15 didn't drive you crazy because it's not a whole number. So why is 16 bugging you because it's not a whole number? Fractions are fractions and decimals are numbers too, David. So did you get a decimal number for 15? You got a mixed number. 2.5. Okay. So 16, you're going to divide both sides by 96, David. It's going to look like this. That doesn't drive you crazy. You could figure out a fraction and put it in its simplest form. You can reduce it. And it's right from your times tables and you're reducing.
Actually, yeah.
Straight out of your 12s.
It's 2.
Yeah.
It's not 2. Listen, this is 2. Hold up. Time. All middle schoolers, all attention up here. In 5th grade, we often have a problem with these two things.
Yeah.
Some 5th graders put 2 for this. No, this is 2. Read this, Lorelei. 96 divided by 48. That's a big difference from 48 divided by 96. If I was going to write this as a division problem, it would look like this. 48 divided by 96. When you first learned this in 5th grade, you looked at it like, that's not possible. And then you learned it was because you learned decimals. This looks like this. That's what you're used to. The bigger number inside the box in the dividend. These two are radically different. This is going to be 1/2. Or if you did the division, it would be 0.5. Boom. Or you could have reduced it according to your divisibility rules. And Cameron knows her times tables all the way through 12s. So she says 12 goes into 48 4 times, 12 goes into 96 8 times, 4 over 8. Now she sees it more clearly as a half. But I would hope that Brett looks at 48 over 96 and he sees that as half before he even reduces it. I hope you get to that point where you can look at something like 52 over 104 and say, it's half.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to make my
No questions? Again, we've got some really peculiar ways of thinking that we're showing our work. If you've got your paper numbered 5 through 31 and trying to show your work sideways like Dina, it's going to be very hard for me to figure out that you're actually following the process. What is so hard about that? I'm very frugal. I like to use as least amount of paper as possible, but you got to show it. Again, yeah, but stop numbering your paper ahead of time and give yourself room to work the problem out. Yes?
Like, can you like put your division like right under instead of writing it out? Like,
So
like if you were doing 8, because
you want to do, you just want to go like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, remember yesterday I showed you the
Yeah,
shortcut?
yeah, that's what I was
You just write over.
That'll suffice for now, but then we're going to be doing two-step equations.
I'll just write it out.
Oh, no.
Not divided.
Decimals are people too.
Did you know the number?
Or numbers. Did I say people?
Yeah.
Actually, didn't mean it that time.
Yeah.
Here is number 25.
How is somebody 125?
Because they don't dilly-dally.
I'm not dilly-dallying. It's just hard. 114.
Noah, what did they do to the variable? They have 4.4 right next to it. What did they do to P? Did they add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Right here. Just look up here. What have they done to the letter P? Have they added to it, subtracted from it, divided it, or multiplied? Okay, so they multiplied by? No. 4.4. So what do you have to divide by? 4.4. So to do it the shortcut way, like Bella says, then I can get rid of this 4.4, Kira, by just putting a fraction bar there that means divided by, Kira, I can put a fraction bar divided by 4.4. It's going to leave me with 1p over here. That's what I want. I got to divide 44 by 4.4. That should not make you lose your mind. You know how to work with decimals. What is 44 divided by 4.4? Or, let's use some mental math. 4.4, if I multiplied it by 10, wouldn't that give me 44? Hello? Remember when you multiply, when you use the power of 10, you just move the decimal point? So I can look at this one and go, oh, the answer is going to be 10. Or I can go ahead and do the division. There you go. Either way, Lauren says the answer is 10. What number are you on, Zacchaeus?
I'm on 18. I was just doing the mental math in my head, making sure I was right.
That's why it looked like you were trying to think, but nothing happens.
Yeah. I was right. The answer was 8. I mean, I didn't. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Never mind. The answer. I didn't say anything.
56 divided by 7.
Yeah.
That's not what you were thinking so long about, I hope.
No, I was just like, wait. Yeah, because I double checked myself because
Must be a small lawn.
yeah.
Or 2005. inflation. The book was printed in 2005. So the kid's only getting $8 to do the lawn. It could be like, just like a little postage stamp. Brookfield? Yeah. You done, Spencer? Oh, Spence. Spence, I had the impression you thought last chapter was easy.
It wasn't that bad, but yeah, I didn't do so great.
You just don't want to know how I remember. Yeah, only about like.
You can tell which chapter it is.
I'm still one last
Last chapter I got a fun
Right,
Chad?
Wait, I didn't even hear the question.
Why would you do that?
Why? Well, that's all I did.
There it is. Never heard that?
When we have class, we'll get to find
I need to have all these things queued up so then when I want to do them, I just press the button.
do
Well, you can just add a link to your desktop. That's smart.
I got a really good song. It's better than that. It goes round and round.
There's a Frank. I know what that song is.
Or Africa.
Mr. Franklin.
It's funny, you guys were talking about that last week. And Friday night, United and Columbiana's band got together on the field, and guess what they played together?
What?
Africa.
What did they? What is that?
Stop the Rains, yes.
They both did it?
Yes, it was so nice.
Here I am.
That was so loud.
What do you mean? How do you know? Every night.
22, listen up. Number 22. 12 equals negative 2z. Running out of room. All right, 12 equals negative 2z. How do I undo what they've done to z? They multiplied by negative 2z, so I have to divide by negative 2z. Here's why, ladies and gentlemen. If I just divide by 2 here, I'm going to have a negative z. I've got to divide by negative 2. That will give me a positive 1. Remember, when you're dividing, 2 negatives make a positive? So I'm dividing this side by negative 2. That leaves me with just z over here. And I divide this by negative 2. What's my answer? What's 12 to negative 6? And then, if you check it, Casey says, is that really true? Did I get this one right? She says, negative 2 times negative 6. Is it positive 12? Yes. You multiply 2 negatives together, you get positive.
Negative. Because it says you have to check it.
So I just checked it. Negative 6 times negative 2 is 12. You can't. I'm not making you show your work and then show the checkbook. Can you imagine Dina trying to fit that on one line?
Oh, I am.
Like before you just say stuff.
I am. You did?
Say bye, Julia.
Bye.
Hey,
Hi, Julia.
did junior high have,
about
you
John?
guys had your last
What about
name?
Joe?
Yeah.
Did you win?
No. It was horrible. Like a good nerd. It was.